And welcome into another episode of Tiger Territory, part of the Foul Territory Network, a Detroit Tigers podcast. I'm Kieran Steckley. We got Cody Stavenhagen. We got Austin Jackson. And we got a team, guys, that we got to talk about that is, the talk of baseball, the best team in the American League, the hottest team in the league. What a weekend over there in Los Angeles of Anaheim against the Angels, man. The bats came alive. A couple defensive plays, too, that we're going to get to. 34-11, unless my math is wrong, outscoring the Angels over a 4-game set, and some dominant pitching there as well. So, I mean, I don't even know where to start. There were a lot of fun places there. What do you guys think? What was the thing that stood out this weekend over against the Angels?
Go ahead, Cody. I'm gonna let you go first.
I mean, I hate to make this the takeaway because the Tigers had a great weekend, but it's like, oof, the Angels are in a rough spot. Their pitching is not great. And Ron Washington, look, I have a lot of respect for Ron Washington. This guy's a great manager, but the contrast in styles between him and AJ Hinch is just kind of funny to watch. You know, Washington's like, the lefty was going to get the whole seventh no matter what. And it's like Kenley Jansen hadn't thrown in 12 days and came out and looked like a guy who hadn't thrown in 12 days. And there were some spots where AJ definitely had the matchups he wanted, but I don't think Wash was that worried about it because he's just like trying to develop something with kind of the mixed match of talent and just kind of spare parts they have over there. So it's two teams in really different places. And, you know, the Angels got one in that series, but otherwise the Tigers kind of put it on them.
Man, listen, the Tigers are hot right now. Like, listen, this is a good baseball team. Like, I'm tired of the wishy-washy fans, the haters out here, okay? I'm going to trigger somebody today, okay? I'm going to trigger somebody because I'm tired of the fans or the haters that are sitting around waiting on the Tigers to fail, right? Well, watch, Ernest, I'll tell you, they're going to fail. Watch. You're that I told you so person. Like, you're waiting around so you could be like, I told you so. Look, I told you they were going to struggle. Look, let's see if they do that in July. Well, then they do it in July. Then you're gonna say, "Well, what about August?" Like, what do you want? Like, what baseball are you watching that you're not seeing what we're seeing? You know, this is not a fluke. These guys are a solid baseball team, and that's what drives me crazy because it's like you don't believe it. These other teams believe it. You know, they're not sitting around wanting to just face the Tigers right now. These guys are hot, and don't get me wrong, like. There will be a down moment with them. They will hit a bump in the road, right? But that's what we kind of want to see so we can see how they respond. That is going to be the identity of this team when they do hit that bump in the road, how are they going to respond? But right now they're playing ball. And you got to respect that. You have to respect this team is clicking on all cylinders. Well, they don't have 300 hitters and they don't have guys that can drive in 100 runs. I don't care about that. Give me 240s and 250s and 265s, guys that can drive in 50 plus, hit 10 to 15 plus. You got a whole bunch of guys who can do that. And I can plug you in. And AJ can just plug guys in at wherever, no drop off in production. You still got guys still executing. That's the squad. That's a squad that you want out there. So all this extraness about sitting around waiting for the Tigers to fail, just wait. Just wait. And if they mess around and make the playoffs, they go, well, win a World Series. If they win the World Series, you're gonna still say, well, that was fluky. I don't believe that. He'd do it again. No, don't you just say you wrong. Just say you wrong, and that this team is legit. That these numbers are legit. This record is legit. You know, if it was the Yankees or the Dodgers doing it, you'd be like, well, yep, see, well, we took care of one of them teams, and we were right there in the series with the other one. We got jumped the first series of the season. We're in your hometown. Everybody all hyped up. You ain't gonna do Scuba like that again. I'm gonna tell you that right now. You face that man again, I'm telling you, he gonna be on it. I'm saying that just wait, just mark my words. He gonna be on it. He gonna have more information on these guys. He gonna go out there and he might not give up a hit. But I like where this team is at. I keep saying it because, you know, if I look at the roster, yeah, I don't know a lot of those guys, but I'm starting to know who they are now. You got guys that are trying to prove themselves, guys that are trying to redeem themselves. They got something to play for. They're not just stepping out there they made the playoffs last year. They want to do that again. They don't want to go under that. These guys are fighting to keep going up. So I don't see how this team isn't looked at as one of the best. I know there's real baseball people that are like, no, this is legit. But there's still some haters out there who just don't believe it. And I don't understand why. This team is legit. They hot right now. I told you, Riley gonna start clapping. He clapping. And then we're gonna talk about, the Angels or this and that. If they would have lost to the Angels, everybody would have been like, oh, see, I told you they weren't that good. No, they went out there, they thumped the Angels. They did what they were supposed to do. They proved they ain't on our level. You know what I'm saying? That's what you're supposed to do to teams like that. Y'all ain't on our level. We're not even gonna give you a shot. We gave you one, you ain't getting another. The team is hot right now. You want to see how this team responds when they do hit a little bump in the road. You want to see that this team has enough depth in the bullpen to finish those games off. You want to see that this team is always in a position to win at the end of the game, or putting themselves in a position to win at the end of the game. And that's what we've been seeing. The boys are hot. Stay hot. I feel like I'm a big brother trying to protect my little brother right now. Don't play with me, man. Don't try to come at me either. Come at me if you want to. I don't care. My career over with. You look my numbers up, fine. I don't care. Do it. Let's get it. Hey, you fine. At least I had a career. You feel me? I don't care what they say. Let's go. I'm a trigger of the day.
Starting off with an Ajax rant. I like it. Set the tone. Wow.
They got me mad, man. They got me hot. I got to protect this house. You feel me?
Well, okay. Like, that was awesome, by the way. I feel like we should just end it there, but we got to fill a little bit more time. There's a couple things to kind of further, go down the rabbit hole a little bit of what Austin's feeling is that, number one, the Tigers are at a level of good, I guess, that they're starting to get like more kind of like national headlines. They're getting a little bit more segments on the TV, on the MLB Network, the ESPNs of the world, John Boy, all that stuff. And that's all well and good, but they're coming at it from a new perspective. So like the people that listen to this podcast, I imagine, are annoyed with the way that the national media will talk about Detroit, because they're going to be talking about things that we've been talking about for years. And that's okay. It's not the national media's job to be up to date on every single team, especially ones that hadn't been that good. Another thing about what Austin said about, like, we'll see how this team responds when, things aren't so hot right now as they are right now. There's a high level of confidence that I have that they'll respond well, because the benefits of having a team that grows up together, the majority of these guys have had some pretty major league disappointments, whether it's losing seasons, losing streaks, getting demoted. Spencer Torkelson got himself 10 home runs. Guess what? He was demoted last year. Guess what? He was demoted 2 years prior to that. The guy's been through the ups and downs of the major leagues, right? Javier Báez, who we'll talk about more, has obviously experienced all the emotions that comes with being a major league ball player. So, like, how will they respond? I mean, I think they're going to respond pretty well, because how they got here is how they've been able to respond to all that disappointment. And the last point I wanted to make, and then, Cody, you can kind of take this in whatever direction you would like, is that the way this team operates, number one, it can only happen after going through all those ups and downs that we had just discussed over the past couple of years, and having some organizational continuity, in terms of message, people, that kind of thing. Number two, like the attitude that they play with, I came up with this over the weekend. It's like, if you're the opponent, you can wear your major league uniform, you can take your batting practice, you can come on the field with us, but you're not going to play with us. Like you're just not, like, you're going to play against us, but you're not going to play with us, because we're going to do our thing. And the majority of the time, it's going to result in us coming out on top. I remember, it's a Joe Dumars quote that came to mind. It was like, back in the bad boy days, he was like, we're going to come out on the court, we're going to do our thing for 8 minutes. You're going to lose, and you're going to have to accept it. And I kind of feel like that's the attitude that the Tigers play with. So all things are rosy right now. Fired up rosy right now in the case of some people, but Cody, what do you kind of make up of like us and I kind of giving some theories there?
Well, the Tigers did enter Monday with the best run differential in all of baseball, Run differential is not perfect, but it's a pretty good predictive stat. Last year, the Kansas City Royals got off to a really hot start. And I was kind of like, really? Like, really, the Royals? And people are like, well, look at their run differential. And Kansas City slowed down a little bit, but that was still a playoff team. The Tigers are beating the teams they're supposed to beat. They're putting up runs. Even if things do smooth out, even if this doesn't end up being a top 7 or 8 offense like it is right now, the pitching is strong enough. The run differential is a pretty good indicator that these dudes are for real.
And then we're going to get to an example, perhaps, of the front office looking at it as these dudes are for real after a word from our sponsors.
FT fan by now, you know, if you're buying, selling, trading, collecting cards, Arena Club is the spot. We've been talking about them all season long, but I do want to focus on the slab pack experience, Kratz, since you've been ripping some slab packs digitally. And what happens?
I mean, as a kid, you wanted to rip open the packs. How can they do this digitally? Oh, baby. This is exciting. How the graphics come out and everything. And, oh, yeah, the card that you pull, you can actually get that, John, physically. So it's perfect. It's all in one place, and it's a super exciting experience.
Yeah, they send that to you from the vault if you want it. But if you look at it and you're like, it's not the card for me, I want to sell back, go for it. You can do any of that on Arena Club, and you can acquire the best value for your money with those slab packs, transparent checklists, and Arena Club's Slab Safe program. Right now, you can get 20% off your first slab pack or card purchase by going to arenaclub.com/FAL and use code FAL. arenaclub.com/FAL, use code FAL.
All right, coming back here, you know, a lot of times when Cody and I discuss personnel aspects of the team, we always try to put it under the cloak of this is just the reality of the situation. Whether you like it or not, this is the reality of the situation financially, you know, team construction wise, et cetera, blah, blah, blah. And that was a lot of the Kenta Maeda conversation. Really since he's been on the ball club, assigning that in the spirit of fairness, Cody and I both, you know, thought was a pretty solid signing at the time. And obviously he, as everybody knows, he was DFA'd on Thursday. We haven't had a chance to talk about it yet. To me, now look, he was in the last year of his contract, so that's part of it, but it was still a decent amount of change for a front office and ownership group that didn't really seem up to this point have a whole lot of desire to just tell guys to go away and pay them for nothing. So they were not. This is not an aspect of us trying to stomp on the grave of Kenta Maeda, but I did think it did give us a little bit of a glimpse into how the front office, in conjunction with AJ Hinch, kind of viewed the situation and then decided to move on, because at a certain point, Maeda was really just kind of like the pitching cigar. Like when he was in the game, it was kind of over. When in one way or another, it seemed like it was over. And I'm not trying to be insulting. I'm really not. But he wasn't getting in any leverage situations, and he was being used few and far in between. So at a certain point, it became what's the best use of this roster spot, and especially in a pitching rotation. And Scott Harris, Chris Ilitch, AJ Hinch, they decided to move on. So my question for you, Cody, is would this happen in 2021? Would this happen in 2022, 2023, or at this point in 2024? Because I kind of say, I don't think so.
Yeah, I think the answer is a pretty hard no from me. At least not this early in the season. I think they would have kept trying. Now, obviously, there wasn't. If he was even showing you some sign of life, if you thought, okay, his velo is good, he's just not locating well. Well, the location was bad, the velo was bad, the secondary stuff was bad. I know people didn't like it when we talked with some optimism about Maeda in the spring, and that's fine. Obviously, we were wrong, but Maeda was throwing 92 in the spring, and he was throwing strikes, and he wasn't walking guys, and the splitter was nasty. And he got to the regular season, and just none of that translated. AJ Hinch, pretty good at, I think, sending some messages to the front office with how he manages. Hey, if you're going to leave this guy on the roster, I'm just not going to use him. And over time, it became pretty clear, like you said, he was in that victory cigar role. He wasn't used a lot. When the bullpen was a little bit taxed, that really shone through. Like instead of a 7-man bullpen, it felt like a 6-man bullpen. a little bit of a big boy move, I think, from the Tigers, from Scott Harris for being able to kind of swallow the pride. Hey, I got this one wrong. We talked about the run differential thing earlier. Like, I think this shows you the Tigers are trying to stack every win they can right now, knowing every win can matter, whether that's for playoffs or seeding or division or whatever by the end of the year. Getting rid of Maeda, freshening up your bullpen a little bit. That's a sign of a team that's taking things seriously.
Yeah, just, to add to that, it's like when you're not getting it done, you're not getting it done. Hopefully you can get that started somewhere else, that process of getting back on, but it's just not here. And that's the realness of it. It sounds harsh, but when you got a team playing as well as the Tigers, they need all their pieces to be fitting. And when it's not, and you have a piece that's not fitting, it's just better to just move on from it. You eat that salary. Yeah, that's not the fun part of it. But at the end of the day, you do what's best for your team, and you see that it wasn't working, and you got to make some changes. They're hard changes. You love the guy, the fans love him, everybody loves him, but that love can only go so far. At the end of the day, if you're not gonna contribute to where this team is going, that's just how it is. That's how this game is. It's a cutthroat type game, but at the end of the day, it's a business, and they made a business decision. They didn't let it wasn't an emotional decision. It was definitely a business decision that probably needed to be made. And they made it at a time to where it was like, hey, we got to keep these things rolling. We gotta get another piece in here, that can help this team win and stay on the trajectory that it's at right now.
Yeah, because I think there's an element of no offense to Cody, but like AJ can lie to Cody, and they and they can lie to and they can lie to the fans, but you can't lie to your players. And Austin, I imagine that if a guy just doesn't have it, and again, I'm not even trying to be specific about Kenta, because I'll be honest, I thought this was a conversation we were gonna have in the spring or even by this time of the year about one Javier Báez, where it's just eventually, if a guy just doesn't have it, how do you kind of keep a team cohesive and together? And I guess for a pitcher, it's man, when he's coming in and how good or not so good he's done every time, eventually you gotta do what's best. You say it's a business decision. Another way of saying that, you gotta do what's best for the other 25 guys that are on that roster, plus the coaches and everybody else on staff and whatnot, because that's really, it's not just a one person thing that you got to keep into account. And again, that's how you lose, just in general. That's how you lose clubhouses, when you keep putting some people out there that are not good enough. You see what I'm saying? So yeah. I mean, it's an accountability thing all around,
Absolutely.
and I think it's, again, another example of things, being very, very serious. Let's go to a little bit of a lighter note here. Talk about Skubal, talked about Austin being fired up. When Zach Neto and Skubal had their little shouting match, my first thought was Zach should have been more like Austin when he hit the leadoff home run against CC, where it's just head down, not looking at him, not gonna fire him up,
Yeah.
And by the way, credit to Neto for not backing down and all that stuff. I thought it was all great, but also if I was the next batter, I'd probably be like, hey, can you not piss off Tarek Skubal right before I come up to the plate? So
yeah. I loved Zach and Tarek John a little bit, but did the benches have to empty over that? That was nothing. Come on.
Nah, man, listen, you got to be able to talk a little bit of trash, without it being this big old commotion. It wasn't like he was like, yeah, go sit down. It was like, yeah. Yeah. You thought you was gonna get me up there again? Nah, go sit down. Yeah, that's it. That's a little. Are you like, oh yeah, okay, I got you already. Yeah, but not this time. Sit down. Like that's just little trash talk between, like you want to see that, you know? And this is what, like, I don't know if I saw it correctly with seeing Scooble do this. I don't know why he was like, I don't know who he was doing that at. I'm like, don't even do that. Nah, go sit down. It wasn't even about benches needing to clear. We're not about to box. We're not doing any of that. It's just a little trash talk, you know, to let you know, nah, bro, you ain't doing that again. You jumped me. You jumped me. Just like I jumped CC. I jumped the first pitch, got him. You know what I'm saying? And then I seen him look down at his cleats and he was like, yeah, that ain't it. That ain't happening no more. And what did he do? He took care of business. That's what I'm saying. Like, that's just part of the game. And you got to enjoy this trash talk between players. It's fun. It keeps the game exciting. These boys are amped up, man. They putting it all on the line. You work so hard to get in these type of games and to be able to like get that matchup again. You know, oh, you got me. Let's see if you can get me again. And then when I get you, it's like, yeah, I went up there again, and you can't get to it. So you caught me when I was sleeping. Now I'm up. You woke me up. Here it is. Let's go. I loved it. I just, like you said, bench is clearing. That ain't nothing, man. That's part of the game. I love to see it. I love to see guys, you know, show some emotion. Man. I don't think you need to get all up and get all up and emotional about it. I love to see that, but ain't none of this next time. Nah, I meant that. Sit the truck. When you come back again, you're gonna be exited left again. Let's go. I love it.
Yeah, I mean, again, like fans just want to see people, you know, players that care, and they obviously both like, you know, cared in that moment, and that's okay. That's okay. Like I don't. This is not an anti-Neto thing. Like
no, I don't know what Tigers fans think about Neto after that. I came away liking Zach Neto more. It's like, all right, I'd take that guy on my team. You know, I want someone who's not afraid to jaw at Tarek Skubal a little bit.
Especially when you're in the midst of a losing streak, you know, like, or, you know, losing, you know, so many games in so many days or whatever. Like that's, the guy still cares. That's awesome. And also Tarek also looked kind of confused. Like, like AJ's like talking to him. He's like, yeah, I'm good. Whatever, dude. Like what, like you're kind of wasting your time talking with me. Like, good. Let's just ball up, you know,
I'm locked in.
Yeah. Ball up top, you know?
Yeah.
So
ball
so
up top. Check. Just check. Come on. Let's go. Ain't no time for all that. Let's go.
Oh man. Well, speaking of like emotions and keeping it cool, kind of like all in the same moment, we had ourselves a play, and we're gonna play here, and then we have center fielder extraordinaire Austin Jackson on the podcast. So what else are we gonna do when we have a great play in center field? We're gonna get Austin's reaction right after we play this video. Cody, roll the tape.
Javy Báez, center fielder extraordinaire, just like we all thought.
Fault. Okay, I'll get it to him. It's a couple sections over. There's a long fly ball, center field. Baez tailing it back. He's at the wall. Oh, don't do it to him, Javy.
I'm just saying that was Ajax level. That was right there. You gotta watch.
Let me see if I get. Let me get some approval. Let me see. You like
Ooh.
that? Yeah, baby. Yeah, all day. That's money right there. And then, first of all, Miles was like, "Oh my gosh, again." Don't worry about it. I got you, bro. Relax. You know what I'm saying? That looks so calm. Like we keep talking about how it looks very natural for Javy out there, man. And we spoke about it maybe a couple podcasts ago, maybe even last one. I'm not sure, but just how comfortable it looks for him. Like the plays that he makes, the routes that he takes, the athleticism out there, man. It's there. And this is the reason why you really can't sleep on Javy, because these are the type of things that he's able to do. If he's not able to come through with the bat, he's able to do things like this, like take runs off the board. That is what you want. This is why he can continue to stay in that lineup, because what he can do with that glove. It's not always like, I've always heard this, when I'm not hitting, nobody is hitting. That's from my man Torrey Hunter right there, shouting out that if I ain't hitting, you ain't hitting. And I know they played together, so I know it was even more of a special moment. Like, I got you. I know he was talking trash to him after that, but it's really impressive to see, because we don't think of him as an outfielder, right? We don't think of him as an outfielder. But when you go out there, when you watch these games and you see what he's able to do in the outfield, it lets you know that this is a guy that you got to keep him in there. You got to find a way to keep them in the lineup. I talked about being able to plug guys in. You know, they got a couple guys hurt right now, and that's going to give them a boost when they come back. But when you're able to plug Javier Baez out there in the biggest part of the field, center field, and he's able to do things like that, dude, that just adds so much more depth to your team, to the lineup, to the defensive positioning, when you don't have to worry about center field being an issue right now. He's the man out there. He can do it. And again, later in the season, say somebody needs a blow. You got Javy that is showing right now that he's capable of stepping into that position and playing it just as at a high level as anybody right now.
Yeah, I keep getting a lot of questions asking, like, what's going to happen when Matt Vierling comes back, when Parker Meadows gets back. When Parker Meadows gets back, I don't think we're going to see much of Javy in center field. But to Austin's point, knowing that that's a possibility, you got a tough lefty on the mound one day, or Parker just needs a blow. Like, that's now an option in your tool bag. I'm more fascinated in, the coming days when Vierling gets activated. Is Matt Vierling going to center field, or you just roll with Javy out there for a little bit longer? I don't know exactly how the Tigers are going to handle that. I think AJ Hinch will probably have even more fun drawing up some lineups, given, the option as disposal. And based on what we've seen so far, no offense to Matt Vierling, but I think Javy Báez might be the better defender in center field. So we're going to have some really interesting roster wrinkles ahead. A lot of it will probably sort itself out in another month from now. Don't wish anyone to get injured, but probably someone else will have to go in the IL, or someone will start slumping. I did want to talk about Javy at the plate a little bit, because he's hitting 309. He has an 829 OPS. And it's like, oh my gosh, this is like vintage Javy. And then to be the bearer of bad news, you click on his Baseball Savant page, and it's just like, oh, wait, what? How's he doing this? Because there's a lot of blue on there. His average exit velocity, 86.8 miles an hour. It's the lowest of his entire career. Hard hit rate, 31%. The lowest of his entire career. The underlying metrics, unfortunately, are not very good right now. The chase rate is a little bit lower, but it's 39%. Bottom third percentile in all of baseball. He still chases a lot. Good to see Javy turn on the power a little bit. I love watching him when he's impactful. But when you start crunching the numbers and asking, like, can he keep doing this? There's not a lot of the signs you want to see that it will continue at the plate.
Well, so a couple things. One, anecdotally from me, I was traveling this weekend. I was in a state where you could, lay some bets. I did a same game parlay with the Tigers on Friday or Thursday, I should say. And I was like, I'll do J-Han to hit a home run in this like 5-legger because, maybe he's due or whatever. I was going to do Javier, but I was like, he's not homering in back-to-back games. And then that's the only leg that lost. And then of course he homers in the next game. So he hits a home run in 3 consecutive games. So that's Javy being Javy and me trying to be critical and analyzing, and just goes out the door. So that's just an anecdote. Number 2, with like sort of like a kind of big picture, like real macro perspective, is that Javier leads. I'm going to say Javy actually for here. Javy leads the team position players in WAR. He's got 1.5 WAR right now. He's 9th, I think I saw, among 2 players. I don't know if it was American League or probably just American League, but regardless, American League or Major League, it's impressive. And it's almost to the point, Cody, that his contributions right now are kind of worth a whole season of like, all right, we like if you would have taken this, told you
literally we already accumulated more value than the past 2 years.
So like you're kind of like,
negative WAR from here on out, but
so like
valuable to the team.
You like if they achieve anything this year, say like a division championship, which they are pretty good favorites right now. I just looked at the odds. It's 100% does not happen without Javier Baez with his contributions to this point on May 5th. So like these concerns you have are real, Cody, but like damn it, his fielding run value is 88th percentile on Baseball Savant. His range is in the 92 percentile on Baseball Savant. We still don't really they don't have a gauge on his arm yet. I'll be curious whenever he has enough qualifying opportunities to get that. But you look at these metrics, you would think he'd be batting 195, like with the offensive stuff. So he's either picking his spots really well, or he's been lucky for the better part of almost 40 games or however many he's played. So I don't know. Right? All I know is that right now, whatever it is, it's working. Austin.
Man, I agree 100%. This is, are we going to see the Javy of old? I don't know. He's on a borrowed hip. I don't know. You ask anybody who got a new hip, a new replacement, they always like, man, I should have did this 20 years ago. And then until they get out there and try to hoop, and they like, yeah, but I don't feel it though. It ain't got that spring in it. So you gotta understand, he is coming off an injury, and time will tell how that hip is the hip, right? Was the hip, right? Yeah, to see how that holds
back, it was back. I don't know.
It was some stuff. So, but I like the position in the role that they have him in, because to me it kind of takes the pressure off of me having to be a certain type of player. I just have to go out there and focus on being a baseball player. I don't have to worry about trying to be, because again, with the injury and just where he's at in his career, I don't think that he needs to focus on that. The metrics and all that, I get what you're saying, Cody. Like I get it. That does have, some there is something to kind of, look at, like, is this going to be sustainable? But at the type of game that he's playing, I think it fits and it molds with this Tiger lineup and the style of play that they play. Like, that's how Javy plays. That's the type of baseball Javy plays. Yeah. He's a scrapper. He's a slasher. I think he's always been that way. But obviously, when you're younger, you're fresher. He had that shortstop position. But now I think you're seeing a dude that has aged a little bit, and he's able to transition some of those skills that he had when he was younger into different positions right now. Like I keep mentioning the athleticism. I still, that clearly by that play, the athleticism is still there. So put him in roles to help him succeed, to help the team succeed. He doesn't have to be the star. I don't know if you're gonna get that Javy again, but if you, like you just said, his WAR, everybody goes off WAR all the time. That's a big thing. So that means he is definitely contributing to what this Tigers team is doing right now. In the last 7 games, I ain't a big stat guy, but I'm gonna pull up a little stat. Last 7 games, 9 runs, 9 hits, 3 homers, 9 ribbies, 1 walk, 5 strikeouts. I think that's one thing that you have to look at with Javy if he starts, swinging wildly. But so far he's been pretty controlled in the zone. His swing looks pretty controlled. He's on base 423 in the last 7 games. Hey, if the guy can get on base and make things happen on base, hey, this can help a team win. How long can he sustain that? I don't know. But there's other ways that he can contribute with what we're seeing on the defensive end. And that's why I think that you have to keep him plugged in. And not only that, but his experience, his playoff experience, his World Series experience, like that means something. And today that might be a little bit of a lost start, but that definitely means something. A guy that's been there and that's done it, that can kind of help, get those guys through those tough, because those tough days, that definitely helps, man. You got to have a guy that's been there, and I think he is that guy. We just got to see him in a different role, and I think he has to continue to be this type of player. Don't try to do the things that you used to. When he's feeling good, you're going to see it, like some of those home runs. That ball clicked in LA. That ball was that's old Javy. His swing just looks a lot more controlled. He looks like he's starting to settle in some. Looks like the body is feeling good. That's what you have to worry about. How's his body going to respond after all of these games in center field? That's a lot of running. That's a lot more running than he's had to do, in the past. So, you definitely want to just keep working him in these roles and seeing how he can contribute, because he's able to do it. he has too many tools to just just be a guy that's over there. You got to use him.
Just be a baseball player. I mean, that's and
Yeah,
I agree
with that 100%.
I've always kind of like done the comparison between him and Russell Westbrook, and the two guys that had this really high peak and like real intense, really like, flashy players at times. And then as age kind of crept up, but Russell's had a little bit of a renaissance as well on Denver. So
sure.
like, the parallel continues there. All right,
that's a good one.
Let's wrap up with the other part of the Maeda conversation, and we saw Tyler Owens make his major league debut. He came in twice. I'm not sure that was originally the plan, but good on him. He pitched 2 innings, and allowed 1 hit, got himself a strikeout, and another one of those interesting pieces, Cody, that we talked about him in spring training and where he might fit. He's obviously I'm always going to confuse him. Was he in the Chafin deal or the Kelly deal?
Oh, they all feel like the same trade. They got him from the Rangers. Let's go with that.
I'll look that up in a second. But he comes over like he could be another one of those like really savvy moves by Scott Harris where you get some value for a player that you didn't necessarily like need or whatever. It was the Kelly.
Kelly.
Yeah, it was a Kelly trade. So anyway, what'd you kind of think of your first glimpse of Major League Tyler Owens?
Yeah, I mean, Owens was, along with Howie Lee, probably the guy, somewhat under the radar guy we heard the most about all spring. Tigers officials seem to really like him. Obviously, they traded for him for a reason. Seems like a good guy. He's interesting. Just go look at him if you don't know why he's interesting. The Jesus, or as Javy Báez called him, Jesus look is a lot of fun. And then, he's listed at 5'10". We've talked about like our short pitchers coming back because it's like a deceptive arm slot. And this guy throws from a deceptive arm slot. There's some life on the fastball. I'll be curious to see kind of what to make of him. The one downside, and I've heard this from multiple scouts, and you can see it, he does have kind of this heave-ho delivery. And I think that adds some deception. Like he almost hides the ball with his elbow. That's kind of just like, is he going to be able to command the ball? He's struggled with walks on and off in the minor leagues. Can his location be precise enough to get major league hitters out? I think that'll be the thing to look for. But the Tigers like this guy, and we've generally figured out when they like a pitcher, it's for good reason.
Yeah, I agree. It'll be very interesting. I know we talked about it earlier, but to see how his fastball plays up in the zone against these major league hitters. The game has changed. It's evolved to the top of that strike zone. And we talked about him kind of having like a little bit of an upshoot on his fastball, like a ride. Guys like me, I'm under that all day. But nowadays, these guys are able to get on top of that fastball. So his ball really has a lot. It has some life on it, but it can straighten out at times. So I'm really curious to see how that's going to play against some of these teams that really can, get to that fastball at the top of the zone. It might be something where he has to make some adjustment, mix in some other pitches to be able to get them off of that. But it definitely has some life on it. And we talk about the short pitchers, there's something to that. It definitely is something to that. It's a different arm angle. You're seeing the ball different. It's coming out of a different window. There was some pretty loud contact, but I just think that's another testament to his ball just kind of being straight. I think that he has enough life on that fastball to where if he can get hitters off of that'll definitely play. So I'm gonna call him Young Jabba, man. I was like, what?
There we go.
Young Jabba right there, man, out there with that beard. I like, hey, I gotta stick with the boys with the beard, man. He had that thing rocking. I'm gonna see what he put in it. Like, what kind of oil you put in that thing, brother? How you get that thing to grow like that? Mine to get stringy. It look like little, I'm like, dang, he got that thing working. But seriously though, it is something too to say that the Tigers, really trust him, and they saw something in him that they think that he can help this team, in the future. So it'll be interesting to see how he fits in that bullpen.
Yeah, for sure. And as we always do, we love Major League debuts because the accomplishment of a lifelong dream. Sometimes you write about the game, you talk about the game, you played the game. Sometimes you get jaded about certain things. One thing to never be jaded about: a kid, getting to the big leagues. It never gets old. So congratulations to Tyler Owens and his family there. Whew. All right. Well, that was fun. That was that was some wake up juice. I hope you guys felt the passion coming from us in the beginning of this podcast because we certainly did. And if you want to see the passion, you got to subscribe to us on YouTube so that you can see Austin just come to life off the screen. Like and subscribe, Apple, Spotify, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. Like I said, we're everywhere so that you guys can follow us, and we appreciate all of you. So for Austin Jackson, Cody Stavenhagen, I'm Kieran Steckley. Everybody have a great day.